And we're live. All right, well, welcome one and all to another exciting demo day. This time, Turbo 4, our big pre-Black Friday release. Looking forward to having this out in the wild. It sounds like it's going to be tagged for release tonight, and then we will go live with all of our marketing announcements and newsletters tomorrow. So we'll follow a similar format that we've followed for our previous demo days, where we'll take a look at a new demo shop if it's available, which it is, the Dubai demo in this case. We could take a look at how the new features have manifested in the demo shops, but more importantly, we'll take a look at how those features appear in a default state and how to configure some of the new features, and then turn it over for a little bit of a code peek to see what the templates look like that are associated with these new features. So if that all sounds good, I'd love to start with the Dubai demo. And Charlie, if you are available to show that off to us, I will turn it over to you.
Sure, that sounds great. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to walk you guys through our new demo shop, Dubai. So before we put this shop together, we did a little bit of research. Dubai used to be the most expensive city in the Middle East, and now it's second place to Singapore. It's grabbed the world's attention through large construction projects, sports events, high-end fashion, and luxury goods. And they actually have an annual shopping festival, which was really cool. So a lot of people go there to buy expensive things. What else? Oh, the look and feel. Right before I jump into actually showing you the shop, the look and feel was inspired by brands such as Coach, Michael Kors, Pandora, and Tiffany & Co. So very luxurious, high-end goods. So I'm just going to walk you through the photography and the typography that we chose for it. Majority of it is in black and white, and then a few images accent the products that we're trying to show off here. So for the banner image, I'll just go through the slideshow very quickly. Also, an Easter egg for anyone that's interested. If you want to go into the shop later and look at some of the photography, I think a good chunk of it was photoshopped by us. So, and I don't think it's easy to tell. So it'd be kind of fun to guess. Anyway, as you scroll down, we have a couple of featured collections. Throughout the whole demo shop, I was kind of trying to market this new fall 2018 collection. And then obviously we're going to show off a couple of other collections, so the leather bracelets and then the rings. And I really wanted to follow trends that were going that were being shown in the previous brands that I was telling you guys about, so Coach, Tiffany, and stuff like that. And so they usually go with a nice, sleek serif font, and then like the majority of the work, and then sometimes they'll sneak in some sans serifs, which I did. Where is it? Oh, we'll get there. Anyways, as we go down the page, we're looking at these collections. Nice black and white photography. The accent color here in gold, it's usually going to be gold, showing off the products, and then the featured product here. And here's our featured collection. And this section was really interesting to put together. So we pulled the products from two different shops. The purses or the handbags were from Keevil, and then all of the wristwear and rings and stuff were from Ursel. And so one shop had this nice gray background, and then the other had no background. So we tried to make this really cute grid at the front showing off both types of products and in a unique way than the other demo shops. And then in the testimonial section, I actually put together different awards that were awarded to this fake luxury goods shop, just to go over, the type of high-end jewelry and leatherware that they put together. And these are real awards in the world. So if you click on the titles, they'll actually link to those award sites, which is kind of interesting. And then at the bottom, we have our footer and our latest blog posts. Let's go back up here. If we hover over our little mini cart, it'll show you the new beautiful checkout button and how we added this lock. As Sean mentioned a couple of times in our Slack channel, you could go over the documentation that was handed over to discuss how important this lock is and how it can really change. I didn't read the whole document, but it can change the way people are experiencing the shop. Next, we will look at the mega menu. So again, in our first column, I put together a nice piece to kind of push that fall 2018 collection that we really want people to go for. It's all jewelry, no handbags. And then I separated the collections into bracelets, bangles, handbags, and then rings. And then underneath is actually the product links. And then here's our lookbook. So the lookbook was carefully put together. Something in Dubai, I don't know if it's like a legal thing or not, but you're not supposed to show off too much skin, even if you're visiting the location. And so I had to go through all of the photography, either from Keval and Ursul's social media or through stock image sites, and find products that either matched or were similar in resemblance, and to show off how they're being used, but not showing too much, so that it wouldn't kind of, I kind of wanted to keep it a bit realistic. And so, as you can see, this is probably the most colorful page on the demo shop. We're kind of breaking away from the black and white photography on this page only. So we'll go down, shows you what's going on there, gives you a pretty good idea of the look and feel and the style that we're going for. As we go into our story page, this is actually a video. I'm not going to play it for you guys, but you can go on and check it out later. It was pulled from one of Keval's videos, so I edited it to show our logo and at the beginning and at the end of it. And as you scroll down, I kind of put together a little story about the owners of the shop, Jeffrey and Alex, and then a cute little quote in between, pretty standard our story page. And then something unique and obviously a new feature is the team page. And so what I did was I created a collaborators page, because it's only two owners of the shop, but they live in an area in Dubai where there's so many different people in the community that, similar to like Makerspace here in Ottawa, where people want to get together and collaborate on projects. And so I have a group shot up here at the top, and then below are just different owners or designers of fake clothing or photography businesses nearby that they all collaborate together and help each other with, whether it's social media or whatever. Yeah. And then the blog, you know what a blog looks like, but we'll just scroll down. I went through so many different fashion blogs and stuff to pull inspiration for these, and a lot of like leatherworking documents, because I didn't quite understand the process of it. So you can go in there and kind of read a little bit more about those things. And then the FAQ, the same deal, where I'm like, okay, what kind of questions are people going to ask? And so I separated them into 3 different sections: leather, jewelry, and then orders. And, you can go in there and it's just showing questions that people usually would ask, like how to clean my really expensive leather bag or my expensive jewelry, because I don't want anything bad to happen to it. And then we'll check out the theme info page. Similar to the rest of the demo shops in Turbo, it's kind of going over all the theme's details. We kept the black and white photography throughout with the spot color of gold. All the links are gold. It was a very simple color palette. But if you go, we should really put together brand guides for these, because I think it would be really interesting. What else could I be showing off here? Maybe if we go into one of these product pages, we can look at the new. Well, there's not really enough product images at the bottom to kind of show the slider, but they're all the same size. So that's really nice. It works a lot better anyway, I think. All the sizing is updated for the buttons. Yeah, that's our new shop. Is there anything else you want me to go through on here, Sean?
I thought that sounded great. The reading time on the blog, I believe that's a new feature, right?
Oh yeah, it is. So right here, you can decide whether you want the reading time on or off, and it'll just show next to the date.
Interesting. Maybe in the next portion here we'll find out, well, where do those values come from?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think that's all we would like to see for... Oh, one thing I was wondering just when I was taking a look at that team page, seeing that the hover information, everybody really likes cats and coffee.
Yes.
Just wondering if there's going to be any variety in there for the demo. I know that that's what the feature looks like in a default state, but...
yeah, I could go in and switch it up. I wasn't sure if that part really mattered, but
someone's a dog person in that list. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll switch it up just for you, Sean.
Thank you, Charlie. Wonderful job. I think it would be great to turn it over to Sharon so we can take a look at the default features and how our merchants will be interacting with the updated theme.
Sure thing. So let's see. Presenting. Okay, you can see that? My pages?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I'll walk you through mostly two things, the team page setup and the cart, which has now got a featured collection option on it, because those are probably the two main things that people will be looking to set up. So for the team page, you just have to remember to start with an actual page that has the page.team template applied to it. So you don't need any content or anything, but just merchant has to remember they need that page with that template. And I'm going to jump over now to my little shop, which is still sort of fall themed. And I know it should be updated as we move into winter, but anyhow, we'll live with it. So having made your team page, you'll want, of course, to link to it somewhere in your main menu. Here I've got it as our crew. And on load, you'll see it sort of is comprised of two sections. So there's this top portion that has an image and or text available. And part two is the employee photo section with the little mini bios. So as you go to set this up, let's say in the top, I'm going to add a team picture. And we can have those guys on the left or the right. So you can edit that. You can edit the heading. We are a super cute bunch. How's it? And then, of course, you can add your text. And that's something that they can just play with having on the top. Again, optional. Oops, sorry. And then the important part is going to be the employees. Because, of course, you could not have this part, but if you're not using this either, then don't use the team template. But by and large, this is going to be a great way to showcase all your different staff members. There's a lot of flexibility in this section in terms of number per row that you could show between 2 and 4. We'll be able to customize the overlay color, background color, the text color, the little accent of the line. One thing to note, the little Twitter handle, which is of course optional, it does take the shop link color. So you can't customize that here. That's just the shop's link color by default. We'll be able to do everything else. So let's try a little setup here. I'll start with 3. And the information available to you is there's room for the name under each picture. Of course, you don't have to use it, and we'll see some creative applications of this in the demo shops. But let's just say this is the startup stuff available to you. So let's add an employee. Let's add our boss cat. Let's call him Walter D. Cat. How's that? And let's put, maybe he is the chief cat, and he likes big ties. And he cannot lie. How's that? All right. And then his Twitter handle is maybe hers123. So there's our first fakey guy. And I've got his information showing up on Hover. Now, I don't really like the colors, maybe, of that overlay. So what I could do is come back here and say, I want this to be a little more brown-ish. Yeah, a little lighter color. Maybe I want that accent to be orange. A little more fall-like. So yeah, so that could be my color palette that I'm going to use here. And then the rest, of course, you would populate the same way. We can throw in a few other little guys just because I have fun cat pictures. So, you know, those would be our little employees. I'm not adding all of their, I'll just add the pictures, not the intro, just so you can see the different layouts. I've got 2 more. This guy in a tub. Isn't he the cutest? Hilarious. And 1 more. This guy was also cute. They all look like very, very engaged employees, don't you think? On their snacks. All right. So there we go. There's our team here at 4 per row. I kind of like the look of 4 per row myself, especially if you have a big team. You've got 20 people, then that's kind of a nice way to go. And but you know, you could have 3 and you could have 2 if you preferred. That would really give a lot of space to those guys. So that's the setup. Pretty easy for the team page, and I will just jump quickly to the demo shops to show you how it's been configured there. In Portland, we've got the image on top, text on the right, and we've got all of our little yogis who work at Portland shop. And thanks to Andrea she came up with all kinds of good roles for everybody to play, Pilates instructor, all that stuff. Very authentic. Over in Seoul, same kind of deal. We've got a picture, we've got the text. Notice here, this is just the heading we've used mostly so that it appears bigger and just a small amount of text. And again, we've got a big gang. We've got 8 people in this shop. Shout out to Courtney for this one. She came up with every single person mentions the genre of music they like. I think that's great, including Lily, who loves reggae. But then over in Chicago, you'll see that here we did not use an image, just the text. And we've got 3 per row. These guys all look a little scary. This one, oh yeah, in this one, we haven't used the Twitter handle. And each one actually just mentions the favorite vape flavor they like. They're all real vape names. I don't know if anyone will notice, but we'll see. And then over in Florence, very elegant over here, just 2. We've just got 2 people. They are the kind of chief, what do we call it, founder and CEO, and the master jeweler. Notice in this one, we didn't even put the names underneath, and we snuck them in where the title would normally go. So you can play with that. people can kind of experiment. That whole part is rich text area. They can bold if they want. They can use the Twitter handle if they want or not. So lots of flexibility there. Alrighty, everybody still with me? Okay, hopefully. Back to, let's say, the cart. Let's go to the cart page. Maybe I should put something in my cart.
Just one quick question on the team template before we move off of it.
Absolutely.
Is it similar to other special templates where the content that is put in the actual page is just ignored?
It's ignored.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully they'll do all of their writing within here.
Thank you.
Sure. Let me just buy something just so I have something in the cart. Not that it matters, but ew. Yeah, my dev shop is very odd at the moment. Okay. Anywho, okay, so cart page. The new thing on the cart page that folks can add is the featured collection. So now there are two places where you get at cart information, and this is always what mixes me up. However, the cart page featured collection is to be found here in the page settings, not the theme settings. Sections, cart page, here we go, add featured collection. So all they've got to do is click on that. It will populate first with 6 products per row, I think in the grid. And they've got sort of a default heading here. And depending on what they've put as their featured collection, they might want to change it. They could decide to display everything on sale, and they might change the heading to say, hey, don't miss out on this great sale. In this case, I'm going to add some impulse buys on my Pussycat store here. And I'm going to put them at 4 per row because it's just going to look a little nicer. There we go. So I can control the number per row. I can also limit the products, because if I had tons, I could display a full grid. Actually, let's do that for a second. If you really did want to show a really big bunch of items in your cart page, you could. Or you could have, 2 per row and only 4 products. So lots of layout possibilities. It's basically a chance for them to, cross-sell an item at the last moment. They're ready to buy. They're going to check out in a second. But you know what? Hey, before you go, you may also be interested in. This is kind of like the point of sale incentives you get, impulse buys at the cashier's lane, all the candy bar stuff. But in this case, when you're online, you want to try and get a few things in front of the shopper's eyes if you can. So in this case, let's go back here. Whoopsie. Doesn't matter, but 4 per row. There we go. And again, this could be a slider. If I had a lot here, I could just turn that into a full-on slider. It's very elegant. The grid in this case doesn't make that much of a difference. And then you can also change the text, right? It might be like, hey, before you go, check these out. Whatever the merchant feels would be like, hey, we'll call their attention at that last second in the cart. So that's a nice little feature. We're planning on adding more sections to the cart page down the road because it's a really nice touch point for the merchant to be able to say, hey, hang on, you're here, you're about to check out. Let's see if I can sell you something else. And right now, these collections, the collection that they will choose, is not in any way related to the item or items that are in the cart, but they may want to curate a special collection just for this purpose, which I've done here, kind of like, little small things that maybe people would buy. But anyhow, that's totally up to them. And I can show you quickly. Let's see if I've got anything interesting in these carts in the demo shops. So in this demo shop, Portland has a grid just showing, hey, buy one of these items, get 10% off. It's just like a little fake incentive. In Seoul, what have we got? We've got new arrivals. in Chicago. I wonder if they're in Chicago. Oh yeah, last chance to get these bestsellers. I think this one might be. Oops, sorry. I thought it might be a slider. Maybe not. And then in Florence, in the cart, on the cart page. You may also be interested in. Yeah, so those are 5 to row. This one's a slider. There we go. So lots of possibilities there. And just back to the cart for a second, one last mention. The lock icon. My cart disappeared. The lock icon. You enable that setting not on the cart page, but in theme settings, cart. Show lock icon on checkout button. There we go. So that, you can see it. Come on. There. It's not going to show me. Cart is empty. You buy something again. So that's not on right now. There we go. Back to here. Enable it, and it is enabled by default. It should show up. Come on. There we go. A little smaller, but there we go. So that's where to find that setting. So that's just to remember, one's on the page and one's in the theme settings. The only other thing maybe I can just show you quickly is the product thumbnail slider. I believe, yeah, so this one is on the product page. It's in these settings, not these ones. Product page. We've got them showing down here as the bottom slider. So that's the thumbnail position. Previously we had bottom, and it didn't call it grid, it just said bottom. We had left and right. So now the new thing to notice is bottom slider. And again, this one doesn't have enough variance to kind of really see how that works. It's too bad we need a few more products in these shops with a lot of variance so that we could actually show that off. Only 4. But anyhow, you get the picture. All right, and I think that is the main behind the scenes setup. Is there anything I missed? Oh, there's a few, just as a point of, just so you know, we added a theme info page to Portland because it didn't have one before. Just got all that regular content that the other shops has had for a while. And I believe Seoul also just got a theme info page. It did not have it before. Same deal. Lists the features and gives you access to the other styles. All these pop-ups drive me nuts. I don't know about you. Yeah, there we go. So I think that is pretty much it from the back end. Is there anything else, Sean, that I should be showing?
I was just wondering what the number of thumbnails before this slider would be sort of triggered.
I think probably about 8 of them. No, maybe 6. What did we set that up as?
I think it might be 7. I'm just checking through the code here, make sure I'm not telling lies.
This is not a product here. What else have I got? Yeah, you're right. Somewhere between 6 and 8. It sounds like 7.
Yeah, sorry, 7.
7? Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, they do, especially these ones are actually tall and skinny. The square ones would be a little bit wider. But yeah, we have not adjusted, like the sort of the margins on the product page are not as fine-tuned in Turbo as they were in Artisan. We kind of scaled things down. So that's the only thing about putting the thumbs below is that it makes this product image quite large, right? Which if you have it on the side, it tends to shrink that main image a little more, which I find a little more elegant. But then they're not in this is nice only if you have a few, and of course if there's 20 different variants, it does look much tidier to have it underneath. But yeah, so there's sort of a kind of debate between, would you rather have the bigger image and the thumbs below, which I would advise anyone who has lots of variants to do. But anyhow, next round we will probably try and tweak some of these margins on the product page. For example, in between here, I can see that's pretty tight, and I'm sure we could optimize that a little better. Just now that we've done it on Artisan and we've kind of finessed it there, I think Turbo could probably do with a little more love on the product page. But it's getting there. It's got the slider. Yeah, were there any more questions about any of those? Did I miss anything?
That was great. I really like seeing how that team page has manifested in the different demos.
Excellent.
In that case, for one, if anybody had to take off at 3:30, by all means, feel free. And we'll wrap it up here by having Matt give us a quick peek at sort of where we can find the templates, snippets, sections associated with some of these new features.
Yeah, time for the exciting code part. Let me figure out if I'm doing this right. Hold on. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'll start. So there's not a whole lot of new code that's worth diving through because a lot of the features that we added are small little tweaks. But I'll show you the ones that I think are pretty useful. The first one, like Sean mentioned earlier, the read time. It's actually pretty cool because the math is fun. I don't know. I had a fun time building it. So it's really simple when you're looking at it. Also, I'll just add, you can find it in the snippets folder. So it's along with all the other include read time. So the way it works is we grab the total amount of words in the article, and then we divide it, then we determine the words per minute into words per second. So after doing some Google search, you read about 270 words a minute. Yeah, I think that's how it worked out. It's been a while. Anyways, and then we grab the total amount of words, divide it by words per second, and then we determine the words per minute based off the read time in seconds. And then we round it up so that 2 is more interesting than 1 anyways, and if there's a weird number, we just round it up to a nice solid number. So, and then it's just included as some text that you see on the blog page or under the article title, I think, as well. So, yeah, exciting.
Is there any way this could be adjusted for children or people who read as fast as children?
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. If you're not
Just kidding,
convinced that you read that fast, you could do, let's go, 10 words per,
Sure.
and then it'll adjust itself accordingly.
Let's try to avoid giving that type of advice. But good to know.
But yeah, the almighty Google tells us 270, so I don't know. It seemed generous to me as well. But anyways, I'm just a slow reader, perhaps. So I'll move on to the page team template. So that one you'll find in 2 little spots. So the actual code itself that makes everything work is found in the sections template, sections folder. On here, page team template. And then the actual layout, which is the page that they assign in the back end, is found in the templates folder where they can see the page.team.liquid file. I'll show you this one just because, but really it's just us including the section. So in here, there's not a whole lot going on that's special. As you saw, we just have the top portion here, which is the image and then the text. And then down here we have the for loop where all the people get added in. In fact, now I'm looking at that, we can probably take out the alpha omega because of our handy dandy percentage-based grid now. But it's not causing harm right now, so there you go. And then, and so here is where the team profile shows up. So you'll find the team member image, and if there's not an image, we just go through the random placeholders that Shopify provides us. So at least there's an image at all time. And then the team member's title, the description, and then the Twitter, which, as you guys saw, defaults to Shopify if there's not anything there. By default, it is Shopify rather. And if they don't have anything in there, it just won't display. And then there's a little bit of style that goes on. This is just used to create the little accent bar that you see, and then the background color. And then we grab the background color, and then we modify the alpha, which is the opacity, and just set it to 0.8. So it's kind of opaque. And then I will go along to the style.css liquid. This is where we saw big changes. So here now we've gotten rid of the pixel-based grid, and we've replaced it with a percentage-based grid. There's not a whole lot to show because it's kind of weird to look at. But the nice thing that we did is we made sure, similar to Artisan, that the same column classes, so 1 through 16, do still work. So people who have custom pages, or perhaps any column snippets that you guys may use for support purposes, those won't change. The only thing that you need to know now is that they use percentages. So 16 is 100%. And then 1 would be 1/16 of 100%. And then
Just a quick question on this, Matt.
Yeah.
It came up in TeamTix not long ago about someone looking to separate their layout into into 5 columns.
Mhm.
And I know previously with the Turbo theme we would have used the 1/5 column class.
That's right.
Am I seeing that still exists, but that there's also a 2, 3, and 4/5 column classes now available?
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Fantastic. That's a lot of extra flexibility.
exactly. Yeah, and that was my next point. Because we're not using pixels anymore, we can use the power of mathematics. Sorry, we can use that, and that allows us to get, for example, like Sean was saying, 2/5, 3/5. Heck, you could even do 3/8. So you can get a lot more specific, and you won't be breaking layouts like you could if you added a 16 column into a 12 column. Now it just will fit, which is fantastic. And then finally, we added a cropping feature, which actually I'll show you guys because actually, maybe I missed it, but was the cropping shown in the demo?
I don't believe so, no. Go ahead to...
Yeah, I'll show that one really quick as this loads. I'll show what we added, though. We added, a cropping ability. So we have these 3 classes here, which are super handy. Basically, they'll crop an image. Image will fit... how does it work? So if you have long text, for example, actually here, I will show it via example because it's difficult to explain. Oh, awesome. I hope you guys don't hear that noise. There we go. Oof. That default Shopify music is pretty brutal. Here we go. I grabbed this, I think, from Portland, but so this is the regular way that it would work, and if you had, say, a lot of text here, you might want it to crop so that it can fit a little bit better. Oh, let me cut a little bit more here because our image is kind of tall. So by default, it used to do this, where your image would be up at the top, and then it's not exactly in line, can look weird. So now with the cropping, we could start with center, so it'll make it span the whole width, and the image will be directly in the center. So portions may get cut off, as you see here. A little bit of wood is missing. Or there's the option for write. So say if this was important, we can make sure that that displays. On the left as well, make sure that that side displays. And yeah, so it'll scale proportionately to the text that is in it. If you have not a whole lot of text at all, then there won't be any cropping that goes on anyways because the image fits. Hopefully that makes sense. If you play with it and do it yourself, you'll start to understand how it works. But yeah, sorry. So we have these 3 classes that'll do that, which may show up, may not. But anyways, so there's the image crop left. So like I was showing, the left side one, right, and then center. And I think that's about it for things to show code-wise. If there's something I'm missing, though, feel free to let me know.
Just wondering if the new cropping feature is the result of is that what the polyfill library was about?
It is part of it,
Okay,
yes.
got it.
Let me find the mix in here. Yeah, so the polyfill isn't in there. Actually, maybe Anne did add it. I don't recall anymore, but it is part of the polyfill stuff.
Neat.
That's right. And this is where all the fancy stuff happens for it.
Awesome. Well, I think that covers anything on the back end that we would be interested in taking a look at. I mean, as usual, if there's any support advice that seems to be getting into that territory, you might want to watch out. It's likely out of scope, and maybe they would be better suited with having direct assistance if they're looking to have somebody make any changes to that stuff. But for everybody's own professional development, knowing how these pieces come together, getting a peek into the handiwork that's done behind the scenes is super valuable. So thanks a ton for showing that off, Matt. It's 3:43 now. I think that if we had any questions or any concerns, grievances, Nintendo tricks, I think that's what I usually say, feel free to table them now. Well, fantastic. All right, so as far as this demo day goes, this product is pretty much wrapped up. We don't have any like Shopify feedback to worry about or any concerns that any of these features are going to be overhauled before it gets released, and we are indeed looking to have it out in the wild later on today. So that's something that we'll just have a quick discussion about in that Turbo channel to make sure that we've got everything sort of lined up for that, and look forward to seeing it live tomorrow, when we'll go ahead with our marketing announcements as well. And then on Thursday, I'm hoping that I'll be using Turbo 4 for the demonstration that I'll be doing in the AMA with Kurt and that Facebook channel, and having especially those cart elements to have the lock icon, which is a conversion tactic that we've added to the settings for the cart, to add the you may be interested in featured products to the cart is that value per order metric, that's what that would generally increase as well. So all of these buzzwords are going to land really well with Kurt and with Kurt's audience. So fantastic work on improving our cart experience. Team page looks great, Dubai demo looks great, so I think that we should be as excited about this feature release as any other. As a bit of a preview, we do have 4.1 waiting in the wings, which will address some of the performance-related improvements that we were potentially going to put into Turbo 4. But given how close it is to Black Friday, we wanted to make sure to keep those potentially riskier changes out of the project for now, so that our merchants can have full confidence in the new features that they're configuring going into Black Friday, their big weekend. Then after Black Friday wraps up, we'll have a bit more time to address the quality assurance component of those more technical improvements, and hopefully hit another home run with Turbo 4.1, which will be available to our merchants after the Black Friday rush. So I think that that's it. Hello to anybody who is watching the video after the fact here, but we'll go ahead and wrap it up and wish everybody a fantastic afternoon, and great work to the team who put in so much time and so much effort into our fantastic new Turbo 4 release. Thanks a ton, guys. Enjoy the afternoon.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye, y'all.